Hi everyone, I'm going to read the final chapter of our book that we've been reading called Let's Do the Pharaoh. Chapter 10 is called Doing the Pharaoh. Here goes. Arrest those men with all the bandages, yelled Petty Officer Fudd. He did not seem to have noticed that almost everyone on the ward was covered in bandages, either because there was something genuinely wrong with them or because they were following the latest fashion trend. 20 policemen raced round the ward, waving handcuffs at everyone in bandages. A chorus of "I arrest you in the name of the law" went up. This was quickly followed by a rather mumbled chorus of "Oh, sorry, wrong one." 5 minutes later, the policemen still hadn't actually arrested anyone, and they stood scratching their heads in the middle of the ward, their handcuffs dangling uselessly at their sides, gazing with increasing bewilderment at 18 patients all dressed from head to toe in bandages. One policeman was brave enough to ask Officer Fudd exactly which two men he wanted arrested. Fudd had no problem with this. He had never forgiven Grimstone and Jelly for trying to turn him into a giant cake. He pointed out the short fat mummy and the one with the large thin nose. The policeman pounced. Fudd ambled slowly across to the two men as they struggled in the arms of the police. "Well, well," he said, "so now you are disguising yourself as one fashion victim and a nurse. Will you never grow out of playing dressing-up games? And don't think you can slip away without being spotted, Mrs. Grimstone. I can see you. Put the cuffs on her, Sergeant, and let's take them away." Fudd would have left at once. Only half the policemen were hanging back, trying to get Cenopod's autograph. "Love those bandages," said one. "I've got my own set at home. Versace, they're the biz." "I've got some of that fabulous eyeliner," said another, "with glitter in it. I'm going clubbing tonight. You've changed our lives, Mr. Pharaoh." A loud chorus of approval came from the other policemen. The Lightspeeds could not believe this display of enthusiasm, but even as they were leaving the hospital, they began to realise that Cenopod's appearance on television had indeed sparked off a new trend. There were more and more people out on the street, all wrapped up and trailing bandages, women and men. They had rouge on their cheeks, they wore thick black eyeliner, some had perfumed candles stuck to their heads, just like the ancient Egyptians used to have, and they all danced the Pharaoh. That is what the new dance had been called, in Cenopod's honour. Everywhere people were doing the Pharaoh, twisting their bodies into strange shapes and making these odd henpecking movements with their heads. The fame might have gone to Cenopod's head. After all, he already had a huge belief in his own importance, but he was strangely quiet on the way home, sitting in the back of the ice cream van. Crusher of Worms and Rust Bucket both sat on his lap, purring quietly, while Carrie and Ben fussed around the ancient Pharaoh, making sure he was all right. "Do you feel ill, Senny? You've had a bad day." Cenopod shook his head. He closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them and turned to Carrie. "I am a fool," he said. "Wow," murmured Ben. "You must be ill. You never say something like that normally." "I'm sorry," the Pharaoh added stiffly. These were difficult words for him to speak. Pharaohs did not normally apologise to anyone. "I was tricked by that foul woman whose heart shall be squeezed between two elephants and whose body shall rot in a snake pit for 1,000,000 years. I left the only people who have ever truly cared for me, who looked after me. Please accept my apology." Carrie looked straight at Cenopod. His face was so ancient, and from such a strange and different world. But under all that pomp and bluster was an ordinary human being, a real human being. On impulse, she put a hand to the Pharaoh's cheek and held it there gently. A smile broke out on Senny's crinkled face. "You are a true handmaiden of the Pharaoh," he declared. "No, I'm not, Senny. I'm not your handmaiden at all, and neither is Mum. We've told you that before. You do your own ironing and you scrub your own back. We're not worms either, or frogs, or beetles, or whatever else you like to call us." "A true friend, maybe," suggested the Pharaoh, and Carrie smiled. "That will do nicely." It was not all good news, though. The Lightspeed had a nasty shock waiting for them when they got home. They had been burgled. They could not believe the mess the house was in. They didn't know for certain that it was the work of Grimstone and Jelly, but they were pretty sure it was exactly the sort of thing the two crooks would have done. "They must have been after the map again," said Ben, turning to Cenopod. "It's a good thing it's safe." "It is safe, isn't it, Senny?" The Pharaoh nodded. "I hid it months ago. It is somewhere nobody will ever think of looking. Now that I trust you, I can show you. Come." He led the way upstairs and into the bathroom. Mr. Lightspeed's face fell. "Oh, not again. I'd almost finished redecorating this after that business with the shower. Those robbers have trashed the place." However, Mr. Lightspeed's despair was not nearly as painful as Cenopod's. He was staring in horror at the blank space on the wall where the bathroom mirror had been. "The map!" he croaked. "It's gone! They have taken the map! It was behind the bathroom mirror!" Everyone now focused on the blank space as if they were trying to wish the map back into its hiding place. But the mirror wasn't there, and the map was gone. Cenopod sank to his knees and buried his face in his hands. "I shall never reach my kingdom in the sky. Without my treasure, the gods will not recognise me, and I shall be forced to wander the endless eternity of space, a nameless, homeless spirit." Mr. Lightspeed reached down with a comforting hand and patted Cenopod gently on the shoulder. "You think you've got problems? I've got this whole bathroom to redecorate for the 3rd time. Anyhow, I think this might cheer you up." Mr. Lightspeed took a flat folded sheet of brown paper out of his pocket and passed it to the pharaoh. Cenopod recognised it at once. It was the treasure map. His heart leapt from utter despair to boundless joy in one enormous bound. He was almost speechless, so Tony Lightspeed filled in the details. "After you so kindly spilled paint all over my nice new bathroom, I had to redecorate. There was paint splashed across the mirror, so I unscrewed it from the wall. And guess what I found underneath?" "Exactly. I hadn't got round to putting up the new mirror before those clowns came in and trashed the place." Cenopod rose to his feet. "We must celebrate our victory over those eagle locusts, for Jelly and the Grimstones have been found wanting on Anubis' scales of justice, and they shall be punished." Ben and Carrie looked at each other. Celebrate? It sounded like a good idea, but how should they celebrate? "I know!" Carrie yelled suddenly, and she raced downstairs and into the front room. A few moments later, the walls of the house began to shake with the boom, boom, boom of her favourite band. In the bathroom, Cenopod's eyes lit up. He led the others downstairs, and there the whole family began to slowly twist and turn and jerk their heads like demented chickens. It was definitely time to do the pharaoh. The end. We really hope you enjoyed Jeremy Strong's Let's Do the Pharaoh. If you did enjoy it, or even if you didn't, how about you go onto Reading Cloud and leave a blog review for all your friends and teachers to see and comment on. Bye everyone!